Hey everybody, welcome. Talkin Pit. We're all set up.
Talkin Pit, the one and only.
It occurs to me that this is not the last Friday of April, but that's okay. It's the first Friday of May. It's close enough.
That counts.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Everyone's got stuff going on.
Why
Yeah.
am I so small? Let me zoom in. Hold on. I'm going to get uncomfortably close to the camera.
Alright. Sorry about the lawnmower noise. I'm gonna do ambidextro. Gonna jump right in here.
Hell yeah.
Tell
Tell us about it.
This is an indie game I was playing. It's where's my video here? Oh, there we go. It is new, and it's got a unique idea that is.
Okay, I'm very into the dual wizard effect.
You
here.
too. Okay, yeah. I like this visual of two Uncle Vans dueling. That shit rips.
Do you remember that
Yeah.
that NES game with the two penguins who have to like merge on a thing, like they control at the same time?
Oh yeah. It shows up on Pit occasionally. Shoot, what's its name? That one. The
we've
one
been
with
sliced.
the thing. The one from that.
Yeah, we've been sliced in half. We must analog our boys together at the same time as a video game, and it's extremely hard actually because the timer on this is not fun. It's not forgiving. You have to do
Okay,
it.
you have to reconnect your halves of the wizard though. They don't have to meet at any particular point.
Yeah,
But their movements are mirrored specifically.
they are analog on left and an analog on right or something like that, so they're
Oh,
independent.
You're making it look like that's the same control with the level of dexterity you're displaying with some of these wizard movements.
Oh, just
Oh,
wait
is this-
until I suck ass
is
here.
this- Hey, wait, is this a play two video games at once game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love playing two video games at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time. I have been noted to enjoy playing two games at the same time, so this seems awesome. I'm on
You
board.
see that timer? Like I made like a second of error, and it was
You can go there.
so
See
tight.
that timer?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's tight. Okay.
That's really tight, actually.
Yeah, so this is like level 3. Yeah, at level 4 out of 100. So I didn't want to do the whole game, so we're only going to show off like I'll do the first 10 levels, then I skip to where I'm currently at, level 40 or so.
Yeah,
So
that
show you
makes sense. That makes sense.
show you what kind of dog shit we have to deal with later, because it no
sure.
longer syncs up. Falling in these pits it's over. If you do that, you really have to move with both these boys. You cannot like get stuck.
Oh, and you can't jump with the other wizard, or else you
Yeah.
go into
You go into the one-way zone and
the
get
tricky
ruined.
wizard
Yeah.
trap. Exactly.
There is a quick
That's so
reset button
mean.
for the incompetent jumping on the purple guy there.
That's me. I'm the incompetent.
This game's a lot of fun. It was hard to figure out what kind of control scheme I wanted at first. I thought 2 analog sticks. That didn't work for me. I ended up using like face buttons and D-pad, and that was pretty good, I feel.
Yeah, that seems like it'd be fine.
Yeah, face buttons, D-pad, and then like use the bumpers for jumping or something like that.
Bumper
Up.
jumper. Yeah. Classic.
Up and triangle are the jumps, or up and whatever your upper button is.
Okay, old school platforming control.
Yeah. I think you can use the L and R button, so I think that actually is the default like extra jump button.
Oh. Well, nice at least.
You get in a pattern here where you really try to do 2 things at the same time, like in sync, and it never works. They
Yeah.
make sure that I keep dumping under the spikes there.
It is an entire game about one half of your wizard rubbing their tummy and the other half of the wizard patting his head.
Here's the real shit, level 40 something out of 100.
Oh my god,
Oh,
platform.
man.
Oh, this sucks.
Moving
Oh.
platforms. This sucks ass. I'm into it.
They add keys later. This level was some shit. Like most of the video is me being angry here. I just recorded this a couple minutes ago. I hate it here.
Seeing the wrong wizard jump up 3 times back to back.
It's so good. And then that wizard has to jump in the pit, and you have to meet him on the way down.
Yeah, you have to sync that up, and I just
Before
couldn't get
the
this.
spikes.
I was better at this when I had
That's
actually
nuts.
done all of them in a row. I was just jumping in here today, and I could not do this to save my life. It was so. All I gotta
Yeah,
do.
I can imagine.
The dude up top
that's
has to
crazy.
be. He has to be perfect up top. There's time down bottom to jump. The dude up top cannot miss a single ride, or you're not gonna make it.
Fair enough.
And I am just sucking ass at this. I think a part of the problem here for me is that the guy below is so far below that I'm trying to eventually just jump without even looking at him. Just can't keep my eye on him.
And I just see that wizard make one extra jump, and I'm just like, oh no. He doesn't know.
Nice!
There's some stuff.
Yeah.
Triangle jump on the right, and platform jump on the left.
Oh, and then one side has to go down, and the other side has to go up. That's gross.
You have to do a hook jump on the right? That sucks. You have to do a hook jump
while your left side is also jumping up. I love that this timer is so short because it does mean that they are requiring you to move both wizards simultaneously.
Yeah, that's
like,
the thing.
A less, how to put this? A kinder game.
I mean, yeah, like if there wasn't a timer, the conceit wouldn't work, right? Because you would just do the left one and then do the right one, and then like, you know, sure you could have a time trial thing as a reward, but you know most people are just gonna go through once and be like, wow, that was easy, and then move on with their life. Hell yeah, 2 I want to be the guys at once. Let's go.
That one really wasn't that bad.
In the eternal words, fuck 'em up, Socrates.
It was fun. I'm only halfway through it, and I had a good time with what I've played so far. It's probably gonna get nuts.
It seems like a good time.
They added some keys and stuff like that, like running up to a thing, getting a key, turning back, and you have this 20-second clock to do every stage. That's ambidextro.
I will say the one thing I do like have in my head just looking at this right now, it does seem like, to borrow a term, you are here for a good time and not for a long time. I'd imagine that some of the like actual like staying power comes from later stages just being presumably way more difficult. But as it is right here, right now, it feels like it's a nice shorter game, unless there's like part 2, the inverted tower, where they like have your wizards control differently depending on where they are.
It does seem like it's 100 levels for $8. I think that's it.
For $8, 100 levels is incredible.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And honestly, I'm here for a game that is good, does its thing, and gets out. I have so much on my backlog.
Yeah, people have been popping off about this one RPG recently, and I was like,
Expedition
God, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's only like 20 hours long. I was like, okay. All right, sexy. Yeah, like, 20 hours, huh?
Hey, so it says here on your dating profile that you are a sub 40-hour RPG. Does that include postgame?
Who would like to go next? Who's up?
I can take it. Yeah. Well, let's talk about looking outside. Let me know when you start the music and video and all that, so I can get it like close-ish on my end, in case it comes up.
Here it is. I'll I'll mute this, and we're gonna play some music.
Yeah, I didn't really want any outside commentary, and I figured we should probably keep visuals to just like the first 15 minutes, because a lot of what this game does really well is like visual spectacle. I think is pretty incredible. This is Look Outside. This is a game made in RPG Maker. If you're familiar with Charles Barkley, Shut Up and Jam, the second game was being made and fell apart due to all sorts of wild stuff, but a few of the most talented people on that project have split off and made Look Outside. So a lot of the humor of this game is going to come through if you enjoyed that kind of writing in the past, and it is exceptionally good. So the game starts up and you wake up with an incredibly strong urge to look outside. Chances are, if you're a capital G gamer like myself, you immediately look outside.
Are they going to do it? Right?
Come on, look outside. Yay! They show it. All right, sick. So looking outside is like bad for your health. This happens, and you try to figure out why does that happen when I look outside. So the whole game is exploring your apartment and going around trying to figure out what the hell is going on outside that makes this happen? And like, can we do anything about this? You can check it first and you'll get a message that like 15 days and people assume this will have like passed over. Whatever has happened will have happened.
Yeah, okay.
So you're on a very soft time limit. If you're trying to play the game seriously in any regard, you don't really have to worry about the time limit. So if that stresses you out in games, don't worry. It's not really super relevant. But the main thing is, this game is full of people who are a bunch of little freaks positive. Look Outside is a game that pretty regularly will test your humanity versus your ability to not freak out when you see something scary. Up front, this game has some of the most effective body horror I've ever seen. One of the first major kind of like dungeon interactions you can get into is there's an apartment across from you, and something happened. You find out quickly their baby was just hanging out, in a the thing babies sleep in crib. And the crib was next to an open window when this whole thing started up. So what happens at first is you run into a man outside who is covered in teeth. His arm is covered in teeth. His face is covered in teeth. He's strangely into the fact that he's covered in teeth. He mentions that his child had the most beautiful smile and now he has it forever, that kind of thing. And so a big part of Look Outside is being able to judge when somebody is like not dangerous, they just look scary, versus when someone is scary. So you got to be able to judge and like make your decision. Okay, this is bad, I need to handle this, versus like, okay, maybe we can talk this out. In the first dungeon, cool. Yeah, and in the tooth thing, so after you fight the dad out in the hallway, you can go inside, and if you go into the bathroom, there's a kid there brushing his teeth. The dialogue is so well written, and again, that's one of the biggest strengths of this game. As you're like having a casual conversation with this kid trying to figure out what's going on, and he seems perfectly fine. He's like a nice little 8-year-old kid brushing his teeth. But as you're talking, he kind of mentions, okay, now to get the other row of teeth. Okay, now to get the teeth in the back of my throat. Now to get that. And you're kind of having this realization of like, oh, this isn't great. And the kid ends up turning around and he fully just like becomes teeth. His face splits open in the middle. But if you're chill, you can go find his teddy bear, give it to him. It'll help him calm down. And that's how you recruit Joel, who's like one of the first party members. And he's just like a nice kid doing his best. And he's taking it all in stride to an unbelievable degree. And that's kind of the like really charming character of a lot of this game is I think the horror wouldn't be nearly as effective as it is if the characters weren't charming and nice. Now, in this video, they're about to engage in maybe my favorite mechanic in the whole game. So I mentioned this game has like a timer, a clock, you have 15 days to do everything. Video games are one of the most important mechanics in this. And what it is you like pick a video game from your rack of games and you just play through it. The writing for the video games is immensely funny. One of the games you can run into is Super Jump Lad, which you have a copy of, and then eventually you can find a copy of Super Jump Lad 3, which everyone mentions. Like, the reviews of this one were really mixed. A lot of people didn't like the direction of this game, and the guy you buy it from is like a hardcore gamer who's like, oh, this is the real one for adults. I see you understand. And as you play it, it sucks. It starts with, it opens at Mario's dad's funeral. And it's like that kind of thing. And it's immensely funny because, first of all, that one in particular, every time you play it, it's bad for morale. Like, no one likes it. But if you have that like 8-year-old kid with you, he's so pumped when you play the first one and like you trade controllers with him. It's like really charming and really sweet. Yeah. And then you play the third one and it's like Joel is so excited. And then by the end of the first session, it's like you can tell Joel wants to get to the jumping. There isn't jumping. There's one party member you can get who is a heinous goth lady who is just the worst. She sucks so much. and she is the only person who loves this game. When you play it, like she starts like quoting along with it in the back and like shedding tears and oh my god, so bold of the developers to make the only jump he does his last. Like it's and it's like writing like that.
Whoa, spoilers. Come on, man. I wanted to play Super Jump Lad.
And yeah, and there's a bunch of different games, a bunch of different genres. All the writing is so funny in them. One of them is kind of a take on Dungeon Keeper called like Wizard Torture or something. Some of the party members you get are very wild and people you would not expect. One of the main mechanics is when you're waiting in your apartment and killing time, there will be a knock at the door. Who shows up at your door is entirely random. It can be shopkeepers, it can be potential party members, it can be people asking for help, it can be a monster. And there, you look for your people and you make a decision. I think the thing that's so important about this is, as opposed to games like Fear and Hunger, where random events are generally a little bit against you, Look Outside feels pretty positive. Like, there are a couple of very scary things you can run into, but they usually have a tell. You can tell something's a little bit off, or, you know, at worst you die instantly, you load your save, no big deal. The big thing though is that's the main way you get party members, and this game is so much harder and so much scarier if you just refuse everybody and try to get through it alone. It's an absolute nightmare. You get party members who are essentially Michelle Myers, who is just shows up at your door holding a cleaver and is like, "Can I come in?" And you're like, "Yes." And she's like, "Great." She's just an incredible
very
party
scary
member.
out here for me, the person with the slasher
for
mask.
me, transgender Michael Myers. Yeah. It's fine. And some of those party members too, like, clearly are not engaging with the threat of whatever is going on outside in quite the same way you are. Oh, by the way, battles in this game super fun, very fast, pretty tightly balanced. A lot of stuff can be threatening. I just want to, this is a really great moment of early art, kind of showing you, this is like one of the lighter parts of body horror it does very early, is when you encounter your wounded neighbor and clearly something is wrong and you ask him if he looks outside, and then yeah, he just starts stabbing himself a whole bunch. And this is, I think, such a great moment of putting a little cutscene in an RPG Maker game that fits so fluidly in and feels so natural with all of it. I will say, this game's not particularly hard. It can be if you play it alone, but if you're willing to like get party members and build up stuff, God, it's so good. You can definitely solve some stuff later on. Yeah, you'll see. To come take a look at the cool eye.
Or as some say, Cosm. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you get some party members who are just like a big nightmare beast who enjoys, who just wants to do violence, like just like will repeatedly imply that as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to kill you and it's going to be sick. One of the best party members, absolutely a joy to be around. The Wizard Torture is particularly fun with that character because she is so into it up front. And by the end, you start like really like Excel spreadsheet optimized min-maxing the wizard suffering. And she starts getting freaked out and is like, this is too much. You're being a fucking weirdo, man. Like, this is too much. You find a way to combine all the wizard souls into one big soul to increase the suffering, and Lay's like, I'm not into this anymore. So the other thing is playing games gives you free experience. It gives you just like low risk experience. When you complete games, you get extra skills for the main character. Stuff like that. It's great though. It's really fun. Interactions between characters really builds up your rapport with them, makes you care about them. So when these horror situations happen, it is a lot more, nerve-wracking, a lot more stressful. And the more people you have, a lot of times, the better it scales. Because if you play Mario Kart alone, you only level you. If you play Mario Kart with the whole squad, everyone gets experience.
Very nice.
This is just one of those games that I'll be wrapped up here in just a sec, but there are so many small mechanics every step of the way. There's a lot of dungeons that are just incredible and incredibly creative. One is there is a painter who a few days before all of this happened and all this started up, he just saw the sky and could tell it looked different and special and important. So he painted the sky that night. And regrettably for him, he did too good of a job. And whatever is causing this problem in the sky, he made a painting that's so good it also causes that problem. And it ended up kind of making him start to morph and change. And as an artist, he decided the best way to express this was by painting out his feelings and painting what was happening to him. Regrettably, those all came to life and decided to try and take his life away from him. And now there are 7 copies of him trying to take over as the main body. One of them's behind me. He doesn't try to convince you he's the real one very much. He's just kind of like, I'm ascended, I'm a god, it's fine, don't worry about it. Just let me be the main one, come on. And there are so many different ways that whole thing can resolve. You'll run into a little like a hat on a table, and if you put it on, it latches onto your head, and turns out that was one of them, and then he tries to like leverage you. It's a whole thing. It's so good. Just a ton of really incredible interactions. One of those games where you'll try something and be like, there's no way they planned for this. And they absolutely did. It's one of those things where they are pushing RPG Maker to its absolute limits in a way that's just awesome to behold. One last mechanic that I'll bring up because I think it's very funny, and there was an old bug that doesn't exist anymore that I just want to highlight. So taking a shower and brushing your teeth is a major mechanic in this, and it is relevant. There's a couple
as it should be.
Yeah,
as it should be. There's a couple of different important to maintain in the background stats, such as your morale, whether you're stinky, that kind of thing. But you have moments of reflective thought when you take a shower, which is good for if you're like juggling a couple different things. It'll remind you about stuff you've only half finished, that kind of thing. There was a bug in an early build of it that caused what we refer to as the gamer spiral, where even if you had fully completed a game, as soon as you engaged with the game, there was like a 95% chance the main character would think about it whenever he took a shower. And the problem is there wasn't a limit on how many times this could happen. So by the end of the game, if you were like going full gamer mode, you would get in the shower and then have to go through like 50 text boxes of you remembering every video game you've ever played in your life. It was like such a good bug.
Right, Jumpman 3, of course. We're all familiar.
You remember Jump Lad 1. You liked this game as a kid. You should play it again more. Joel seemed to be enjoying his time with it, but just every single game one at a time. It was so good. Such a good bug. But yeah, just an immensely funny game. Super fascinating, super interesting. I think the hook of you look outside and it kills you instantly is like pretty good. Also, if you've played Fear and Hunger before and you're worried this is going to be like as vicious as that, it's not. I'll just say up front, the only thing that like truly insta kills you is looking outside or engaging in looking outside in some way, shape, or form. And most of the not obvious ways of looking outside, the game will even give you a warning. It's like, hey man, that's probably a dog shit plan. Also, with no spoilers, game probably has the most terrifying and well realized bad endings I've ever seen in a game. Truly horrifying stuff. Kept me up at night. Was like, wow, that's quite a bad ending. Yeah, and the art's incredible, the music's incredible. Check it out, look outside. I like it a lot. I'm probably gonna make a video about it soon. It's a cool game.
I do like the fact that look outside sounded like an imperative for a moment. Like it was just, hey, this is a great game. You should look outside right now.
Yeah, look outside. It's perfectly safe.
It's interesting
Ordinary
to see
things are happening outside.
RPG Maker being used for anything but crap. Because I'm super used to like 10,000 of the same Dragon Warrior 1 out of RPG Maker.
RPG Maker lately has been having like, over the last like 5 years or so, just an explosion of good games. Because you have like Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, Fear and Hunger 1 and 2, Look Outside. Yeah, there's bangers across the board. RPG Maker's very real now. It's cool.
Yeah. Emily, you ready?
Yeah, I can just switch my scene here if you're willing to put me up on the main one, because I'm
Yeah, I got
Currently in the
big,
middle of it, as it were.
big zoom in here. Hold on a second.
Just make sure that it's capturing properly. I'll scoot over myself.
Big zoom.
Big zoom. It isn't. That's a shame. I'm just gonna go to monitor view. So this is the Bazaar. Bazaar. This is a kind of auto battler merchant simulator. It's very fun. I like it a lot. But the general conceit, to give you an idea of what's happening, is you spend.
I can get the audio if you mute your mic on OBS, but play the game audio.
Oh, of course.
I can grab
Apologies. Apologies. Yes, I'll fix that up now. Okay, there we go.
All right.
So the general idea of the Bazaar. Oh my God, file folders. No. The general idea of the Bazaar is you build a run. You construct a machine to thrash your opponent's ass. And in the 6 hours prior to the inevitable fight at the end of each day, which will be with a player ghost, you manage your inventory and try to kind of establish, okay, here's how my build is going to work. Here's what I have to do with it. Here's how I might be able to give myself a little edge in combat, things like that. So right now, for example, this is my active board. This is the one that will be on the field when I go into combat. This one is my storage, where things that I have that aren't actually going to be in combat go, but some of them have effects in the background. And the general flow of the game is, the day starts, an hour passes, you visit one of three options, usually a shop, an encounter, something free in case you're broke. And then if you go into the shop, you have an amount of money, and as well as a passive amount of income per day. You can spend money to re-roll the shop if you're really swimming in it, or if you're a little bit, more broke, plan to be a little richer someday, you can absolutely just leave for the time being, come back later, not worry about it too much. At the middle of each day, there is a NPC encounter in which certain sets of very specifically defined enemies will try to kind of kill you. But realistically, this is just a source of income for the players, something to help you kind of kickstart your economy and get you bonus experience. Since there is a leveling system in this game that is fairly automatic. You gain 1 EXP per hour. There are 6 hours in a day. Any extra EXP you get on top of that is gravy.
Yeah, have you talked about the overall win condition? Because I think that's pretty important for people to understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the overall win condition.
Yeah, go for it.
In fact, let me just speed run to the end of the day here. The overall win condition is you want to get 10 wins on your belt in order to get to the end of a run completely successfully, no qualifications, just you did it, A+, leave the room.
So it's like most of the game is going to be PvE against the systems and shopping and stuff to get a build together. And then every so often you have like a little PvP check-in. And those little PvP check-ins are how you win. If you win 10 of those. And how many are you allowed to lose before you're knocked out?
You are allowed to lose a variable number of them because you have a set amount of prestige, which is more or less the actual health system. You start with 20, and if you lose an amount of prestige equal to the day you're on.
Okay, so taking losses early isn't as punishing to your HP total, but it does mean you're going to have to play later into the game if you want to get the full 10 wins. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, this is a player. Now, Vito is somewhere in this game at the moment, and his player ghost has been saved. Each player ghost gets saved on the day that it's on. So, for example, this is a ghost of someone who's also on day 10 playing the game right now. And I have to try to win this encounter as best I can. And it managed to work out. That was very multi-ball. My opponent's board and mine are both kind of things keep happening all the time.
A lot of burn building up.
In general.
The life bar is a good thing to know. The life bars have a couple different sets of numbers on them, and they are like your current health, your regen, burn damage, poison, all that stuff. So if you look down at Emily or Emily's opponent's life bar and see like 12 numbers, that's why. It's just giving you a lot of information in a pretty small space.
Yep, and you can absolutely replay a day if you ever want to see what's happened at the end of the fight to try to figure out, okay, what did I do well, or what did I do wrong, or how did this machine thrash me or otherwise happen?
Also,
it
after
is
a battle,
maybe one of the most slot machine coded games I've ever seen.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
not have any literal gambling in it.
The magnifying glass is really important because this lets you see what each individual item contributed. So like there's the times 8 times whatever, that's how many times it fired. And then you can see how much it contributed, which there's a lot of items that care about positioning, right? Of like, do you put this next to this, next to this, next to these trigger that thing? And so
a good example
lot of times
of the kind of item you're talking about for an example on my board is the pendulum. Anytime one item on either side of this gets used, the other item is charged 2 seconds. Because every item just works off of a cooldown before it goes off again. So if you have something that says, okay, this will take 2 seconds off of its cooldown, that's generally something you want to keep around.
But yeah, so this little magnifying glass and that info is super nice when you're trying to do those little like micro optimizations of like, I can't tell which of these positions is going to be better. You can just check the numbers and be like, okay, that one does 50 more burn if it's to the left. And then you just lock in and learn for future runs.
And that's the thing is, it is very much a game where you cannot sweat losing a run. This is a game where you're going to lose very often. I'd say if you manage to get to 4 out of 10 wins, you will get 1 chest at the end of a run, which will have like, it's all cosmetic at this point. It's skins, it's stuff like that. It's little flashing effects for your weapons. If you get to 7 wins, you get 2 chests. If you get to 10 wins, you get 3. And you get 1 free run in the ranked mode where you can earn those chests per day. The game is free to play at this point. It is fully just out. Everybody can download it, play whatever. There are certain subscription modes, but some of the more, I'll say, less popular or like more maligned instances of monetization have been rolled back by the team actively in the last couple of weeks since their initial attempt, which was met with pretty severe backlash. Yes, and also it's a little bit hard to tell because there are so many small guys sitting on the other side of the field. But there are 5 different characters soonish, 4 different characters right now available to play. And each one is going to have a different item pool of about 100 plus items. They're going to have different play styles, and you'll only have one to start, with others being available for the in-game currency, which you earn by doing ranked runs. So if it's something like...
I was just gonna say, would you say this almost feels like a very tight deck builder where you're building a deck, but your deck is at most like 6 to 10 cards, right? At most. And then it's a lot about upgrading your individual pieces, and then a lot of risk reward evaluation of seeing something at a shop and being like, okay, that is part of a really, really strong build compared to what I have that's like, okay, so like, is this a good enough time for me to try and make that pivot? Is that a good idea? Or should I lock into what I'm doing, try to refine that more, like get more upgrades? That seems like a lot of the skill expression to me is understanding when to go for pivots and when not.
Yeah, it is one of those things also where there are certain, I don't know how best to describe it. I'd say there are certain like exodias to look out for, certain end game board states, we'll say.
Oh yeah, certain builds. I mean, it's just certain builds, right?
Like, won't actively know to pursue at the beginning until you're thrashed by it.
And also this game's getting balance patches constantly, right? So like, so it's one of those things if you can't really sweat it too much, because even if you just take like a month or 2 off, you come back, the thing that you thought was turbo busted might be toilet now,
Yep. It is really just one of those things where the meta is constantly evolving, and they have established a patch schedule at this point, which is they are adding 2 new sets of items per like the game total, not like per character, every month. So every month they're going to add 20 new items to the game, split across 2 different playable characters. with the newest one set to drop like in a week or two. So the meta is about to shift again. It's going to happen. You have to kind of roll with the punches and try to figure out what has changed. It is still very much like this was you can probably tell if you've played like the Hearthstone auto battler or something like that this is very similar in like tone. And that is very much like for a reason. The main guy who kind of brought this project into being is a ex Hearthstone streamer who did like choose to make this game as like yeah, I could do that sort of thing. And like 7 years later, it's coming out. It's got a fan base. It's got an active player base. All that good stuff.
I haven't heard about Hearthstone much, but that doesn't surprise
Hearthstone's
me.
still going in the background. Like it is still there.
Yeah. You can play Hearthstone if you want, I guess.
Yes. Yeah,
Hearthstone made a couple crazy choices in the mid game that lost all the players. Basically, is what happened. Smite. There were a few mistakes.
I played it when it was new for like a couple months, and then I lost track of what it was doing, and then I stopped hearing about it forever at some point.
Adventures. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, adventures were interesting, and then then it exploded.
Well, but bizarre though. So, have there been? How do you feel the balance has been as far as
the balance can definitely? Oh yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I know a thing new players are always worried about, right? Is I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna get slaughtered over and over, and have no chance to make it up, no chance to learn, that kind of thing. Because obviously as a big fighting game player guy, I deal with these kinds of concerns constantly. Yeah.
Yep. And understandably so. It's one of those things where, holy shit. So I just lost my run.
Yeah. Whoa, what was that Vanessa cooking? Jesus Christ. Oh, I do see mast. Okay. Yeah.
There was a lot happening there. We don't gotta talk about that.
Showing the beginning of a run might be good too, so people can see.
Yeah,
what
I was planning to
there's 10,000 things.
This is actually perfect timing. I wanted to show a little bit of what happens at the end of a run, and then get the chance to kind of like narrate through like the first, I don't know, day or two. So after each run, you do have daily and weekly challenges that get you EXP on the Battle Pass. If you get to levels 15 and 30 of the Battle Pass, you unlock the current month's like new expansion. So previously, it had been that you had to pay for the Battle Pass and then get that rank before you'd actually have access to the new items. This was widely maligned by the community and led to huge backlash towards the developers, which was handled with some lack of grace, but we're moving past. But the general idea now is just that everything is free, but if you're playing more, you can get to it. And if you don't really want to play a ton to get there, you can just pay like $10. It skips like a quarter of the Battle Pass. And you can do that repeatedly. So they've gone like, okay, if you really want to skip like the entire unlock format, $40 a month will get you literally everything we're putting out, and you'll never have to worry about EXP ever again. But for people who don't want to spend that kind of money on it, the option is there. So briefly to go over, there are 4 characters. As a new player, you'll only ever have Vanessa, who has a couple of different builds, notably things based around like weapons and things based around the sea, since she's like a pirate.
Important note, the free character, really fucking good. I just
really
feel like that's
right
like
now.
a good high. Vanessa's very good. This isn't a game where the first character they give you is dog shit and you have to unlock.
Yes.
No, like Vanessa can fucking win, as you just saw.
Yeah, the big thing about Vanessa right now especially is that she is an early game monster who starts to fall off late. Mm-hmm. Whereas you have characters like Pygmalion, who is very much like the late game monstrosity. There are skins for everybody, by the way. You've got a bunch of different like options for what these can look like.
Vanessa's
And-
like trying to build a big sword and gun. Pygmalion's trying to like drop real estate on you. So
Yes.
like by post game, it's like he's throwing houses at you, and you're like, okay, man, okay.
And you're like, how bad it could a house be? And then he throws a nice little fixer up there at you that he's grown to be worth $1 million, and it's on fire. And now so are you. And you just have to be like, yeah, man, okay, that makes sense. The game's like mascot sort of is Dooley. He is a very fun little character to play, and he's still kind of a menace, just a little bit less so because he recently caught some nerfs for having a cool bug collection that was wildly unbalanced.
DJ bot, right?
No, DJ Robot was fine. It was very strong. No, he's gotten a new item expansion recently and this is actually, I'll talk about this briefly. His new item expansion could freeze things way too easily. And freeze, as you might imagine, stops items from going off entirely. So if you have like too much freeze on the board, your opponents don't get to play. It feels bad. Yep. And that is one thing I'll bring up is that some of the expansions and some of the new characters especially can come out feeling tuned weird. Like Mac, the character I was playing as, is fun primarily because he has a bunch of different builds that are viable. But he definitely came out overtuned. People were regularly finishing Mac runs with like $400, $500, which is more money than you ever need in this game ever. Like the most expensive item you could ever buy if you were ever going to look at it is $96. And you're just like, okay, that's
but it sounds like they are pulling them back in line a little bit after release.
They're pulling them back. Even if they're still a bit strong. Because the other thing is, they're eventually saying, okay, well, if we keep coming out with more and more expansions, eventually they're going to be like, there's going to be enough item pool that people are going to be able to come up with some really weird strategies. Like we're very much in the early game of the Bazaar currently in its development cycle, where there are a few like options that are available for people extra. But in the future, they've stated that they want people to be able to turn off all but 3 expansions at the minimum. So that's your minimum deck size. It's like 130.
Yeah, and so the point I wanted to make though is just releasing characters a little intentionally pushed so that people are excited and play them a lot and generate a lot of data is like kind of a tried and true strategy now, as long as they are willing to pull them back. Like there are some cases where it goes bad, fuck 'em, Ron, Tekken 7, but like usually if you pull it back afterwards, like it can be all right, and it gets you a lot of data up front. It shows you what the players like, what they don't like, that kind of thing. So like it's one of those things where I'm a little more willing to forgive. Like the characters tend to release a little goosed as long as they have shown that they're willing to bring them back in line after.
Yeah. So to kind of give you an idea at the beginning of the run, like method, you'll start hour 1. It'll give you a couple of different options. All of them are very strong. You can either get a skill. Skills are passives that you have an unlimited number of slots for. So like if your board is full and you are pretty much set for that, you can use skills to kind of amplify combo building, or to just get passive things like an item has extra burn. All of your items have a little bit of extra burn, things like that, which can be very strong early. There's get an enchanted item. Enchantments are like you attach a bonus onto an existing item that varies depending on what it is. Like if you have an item that poisons, you can say, okay, now it burns as much as it poisons, or now it hits you in the face for 10 times that poison up front. Things like that.
Some of these are crazy too, because you get stuff where like healing scales out of control, and you get something that's like whenever you heal yourself 1, burn your opponent 1, and the healing numbers are not made for that, so it can go like nuts.
Yes, there was a healing potion put out for Mac that was, the effect was just, this heals you for your maximum health. And when it released, all of its secondary effects were like, this does an equal amount of that in damage or burn or poison, or like 10% even. And 10% of 10,000 health is in fact 1,000 burn. So they had to tune that back. The last option is just start with extra money. So if you're ever just like, I'd love to not have to play the econ game as much, great. The Bazaar is here for you. So you'll get a couple of options for items, some stuff that you can just kind of pick around, choose whatever, have a good time, leave the store. You'll get some early encounters, which are pretty much impossible to lose except for that guy. Which each one is going to have different items, and there are community resources available that will lay out for you very directly. Here is what this enemy has. Here's how much health they have. Here's what their items they have do. You can look at every kind of like encounter table and just go like, here's how I can figure out whether or not I can take this in a fight.
So enemy encounter stuff. First of all, you get one random item from the enemy, and this includes the items they have on the board and their perks, right? And it's like just a flat roll. Like they have 4 things, 1 in 4 chance to get any of them, right? Which can like mean in this case, you're pretty likely to get whatever thing you want, as opposed to later if there's someone with a board of like 12 things, it's like good luck getting what you
12
want.
12 things and 4 skills, you're never gonna hit the skill. Exactly.
Yeah.
But the things about this are like, you can get, if I had like, there's bananas here, which like, yeah, okay. Because my bananas are bronze, I can also get a copy of this bronze banana, which would, if I got it, just upgrade my banana. Because anytime you get a duplicate of an item that is the same tier, they combine, they upgrade. So that is very like good early in terms of I can find a couple of different items and then maybe make one of them extra turbo busted if I'm really looking for that sort of thing.
Another thing that helps with the feeling of like overwhelm of options early on is, as you can see, Emily's got like a really small piece of board with a little like roll of cloth across it. That's because she only has that much space up front. As you level up, your board becomes larger, but at first you only have like 4 slots. So like early game, it's pretty chill. You don't have to worry too much. You don't have like 1,000 options up front. That starts like ballooning as the game goes on.
Yes. And you'll see other people on and if you're looking at like what I'm showing you right here, it'll show you your opponent. It shows you at the top right what their level is, so you have an idea of how like strong they are compared to you in terms of like health pool and stuff like that, or if like they're going to have a bigger board. You can see how much prestige they have left, which is their health. And you can see how many matches they've won. And obviously this is the first day, nobody's played a match yet. They can't have won any. So you hop on in there, you get a fight going. I'm probably going to get my butt kicked just because that's a very large bayonet that they have attached to their cat. I will also say just one thing I love on a personal level. The are you familiar with the account MTG Flavor Judge?
Yeah. Yeah.
The flavor judging of things in this game is so strong. Like there are just moments where I'm just like, yeah, I've got my my fireflies, my Quillen ink, and I'm pouring a little bit through my Aladel, but I'm being bitten to death by piranhas and being hit by a calico with a bayonet. Just like
I've got an entire pirate ship assembled backwards, and it makes my gun shoot super fast. Yeah.
I have attached 16 silencers to my flagship, and this makes it go incredibly quickly.
Yeah, silencers with the whole pirate ship is so funny. It's like screwing a single silencer like on the end of the ship and being like, they'll never see it coming.
Strapping it to the mast, and just instantly we're gliding through the water, baby. Let's go. But yeah, no, it's a very fun game, and the replayability, if you do run out of the gems, it is absolutely possible to just go like, okay, I'm just going to play some normal matches for today. I'm not actually going to go back into the ranked queue, because again, the ranked queue does take a little bit of the in-game currency to actually interact with. But the other side of that is the fact that the in-game ranked queue gives you a free run a day. So it absolutely like has that.
So the other thing, the reason it's important that there's a little bit of a cost to the rank queue, because I know I've seen some people be like, oh, I can't believe it, because they haven't played it yet. The opening choices are
very swingy.
Very swingy a lot of times. And so what you'll get with people in the free queue is they'll run like the first day, see if they get one of, a couple broken items they're looking for. And if not, they just start over. So like sometimes in the unranked queue, you'll see a few too many people with a few too unlikely of builds.
Early days are definitely harder to win. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas ranked queue, like you're getting people who are legitimately doing just one full run beginning to end a lot more. So like, that's why there's a little bit of a cost. I know it feels bad up front, but like it's for good reason.
Yeah. And with the addition of the free run a day again, which they took out briefly but they reinstated, it feels fine. There's not very much that actually feels that bad about having like only one free ranked run a day, because like, yeah, you'll be getting your practice in the normal queue. You'll find your sea legs. You'll see a couple of builds that like, oh, that seems good. Oh, that seems bad. And the community resources for this are more or less just 6 streamers in a circle all deciding what the meta is. But like, it's okay. It's not too bad. Yeah, that's the bazaar. I'm just gonna keep this run going in the background, but, so I don't know how long you want to keep looking at it, but yeah, absolutely. You want me to do you want me to switch off, or do we want to keep doing the run? Because I'm willing to just keep talking about bazaar.
I'm gonna do.
That's why you got another game to cover, right?
No, I don't.
Oh.
My internet's being silly, so I'm gonna give it a minute. But then I got a little bounty thing to do after that. I have some rum art.
Okay,
though.
yeah, good times.
I'll put that on the screen. Ambidextro art.
Yeah, let me switch back over to being large. Hold on.
Oh yeah, I guess before we cut, I should make sure people get to see. I realize now my cool shirt is entirely underneath camera, but look at how fucking this thing is so sick. I love this shirt. It's so dope.
Nice.
What bounty are you doing?
This one is Towerborn. I've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
It is a beat 'em up kind of game. Pretty good.
Your friendly neighbor, the eye in the wall, staring at the collection of wizards you've begun to establish. Yeah, there you go. That's.
The half
I appreciate the
wizards.
split wizards just being here. Very quality.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to do this Talkin Pit at the end of every month or at the very beginning, whatever Friday works. I'm gonna keep doing that.
You know, whenever it happens.
Yeah. Trying to be consistent-ish with it. I'll try, and I forgot to announce it this month, but I did remember that I wanted to do it. It's just
for sure.
The Friday was like as far away from. I thought there were 31 days in May, and I just got confused. There are 31
you
days
know what
in
they
April.
say, you know, 31 days has everything but April, June, July, the other one.
Yeah.
They're always saying it. Everybody's saying this. You know it to be true. You don't need me to tell you twice, obviously.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. Great time being here, as always.
I'm gonna go make some dinner. I'll catch you around. Have fun with the bounty.
I'm gonna go make some illegal deals in the bazaar.
Sweet. Good luck.
Thank you.